Hey guys, good morning. Good morning. It's about 10 o'clock here on the East Coast. Is that where we're at? Yeah, down in Key West, Florida. So, yeah, I was hoping you guys are doing well. What's going on? I need to go get a haircut. Well, this is Monday, and I've got another lesson for you. Um, it looks as though we got some new people. I can't tell very much, except that, I got 24 people reading things now. Wow. I used to have like four. All right. And I like those old four people, those people. At least I can get them to talk to me and hit the button every now and then. So, anyways, for you guys that are newbies, there isn't much more of the Bible left to go through. I've been looking at this Lamentations as our next class. I've never read it before, and I've gone over it. I've read it now, and it's about losing. Uh, Coming to in a situation where Jerusalem has been, knocked out. They're all crying. There's a lot of wailing, sorrows, and stuff like that. And it actually is going to kind of set out to tell us what it's about. You know, she actually calls herself a tributary. And in historical worlds, the idea is, we know that she is looked at as water. This is the second phase here, the water side. This is where our religion and this is our Kundalini system, all governed by water and our emotions and stuff like that. So when we are talking about this part of ourselves, she becomes a tributary. And what this in the old days, a tributary just meant that, hey, these guys went on. Someone that used to, that she would be that they would come to you, come to me. Now you're going to somebody else, so and they become a tributary. And so this beautiful city of Jerusalem is sacked, and Judah is brought into uh, captivity. So this is the situation that all of mankind is brought into captivity. This is the idea that we're all been delivered into the hands of our oppressors. And of course, this would be Father. This is Satan. This is the energy of beta conscious, and you can think of Satan as being something monstrous and stuff like that, and the horns and the whole 9 yards, because that's what they used to do it. But, that is us at our finest. All right. But we would like, God likes to say that the meek ones are going to be the ones that make it in this way. And so, the monsters that they make us out to be, these giants, these big, they've increased themselves immensely. But this is from the outside. This is our ego. This is that side of the mind. And that's over here. It's the black, the intellect, it's our mind. That's what this is. The entire thing here is representing the brain. But it's how to get from a Western way of thinking to an Eastern way of thinking. And an Eastern way of thinking is meditation and stuff like that. But I'll tell you that the outsides are still doing their meditations are mantras or wiggling things, put things in their hands and talking or whatever. That's not shutting down the mind. And they talk about fasting and stuff like that. Fasting, stop eating, so that you can become emaciated, and go on these trips where you're getting high off yourself, calling that God, no, that ain't right. That's not how it works. This situation has to go with on the inside of us, and fasting simply just means shutting off the mind. Don't feed it anymore. Take no thought. Shh, shh. Jesus tells us go into our closets and shut the door. And don't pay your alms to a man. Don't pay money to old man. He says, you're giving silver. Your idea of silver is you're giving up this part. The silver is a man. You're giving this part over to God. And and we are told at first that because of the situations with Lamentations and stuff like that, is that we are now tossing our silver out into the street. All right. Tossing our silver out into the street. All right. So this is an outside thing, just like, in Revelations, it's the whore on the back of the beast. It's an outside situation. Whereas mother, the true mother of us all, she's in the same spot too. She's an inside thing. That's an inside thing, not an outside thing. So how I built this is not just random. The Bible speaks things in 1, 2, 3, 4 fashion, and they keep this up the entire time. It's part of this of the dark language, the hidden side, the spiritual side of our Bible. They have to keep things in the thing. It's already hard enough to find that you'd have to figure out which one of these they were. I was in that position before because I didn't know that they kept repeating themselves over and over again. How did I not know that the Bible does this? It does. It's how we know it's the truth. So it comes out as being the 4 elements. All right. And those 4 elements, they come in order too. By the earth, through the water, and into the air, and then the sun. That's their order. It also becomes those 4 fixed signs of the zodiac. You get Taurus and Scorpio and Aquarius and Leo. All right. Those are the 4 living beasts. That's the 4 and 20, when it comes down to it. The 4 and 20, the elders. All right. That tells you another story. When we go into meditation, the sun goes dark. On that last day, on the Lord's day, okay, the sun goes dark because he goes to sleep. The body is put to sleep. The moon no longer shows its light. So it's like sackcloth, this idea that something's come between us. All right. That's very much the way it goes. She no longer shines her light because when we're going through our last day, the second phase of this, our religious, the word, the religion itself is no longer has its effect on us anymore because that's part of our works. And this is the end of days. So it's after our works are done. And remember Jesus, before he actually dies on the cross, he says, finished. It's finished. So the moon no longer shines its light. In a good number of places, we have this part where it says this is the red. The moon goes red. All right. That's not a bad sign either. That just means that instead of getting the light from the silver side of this, the fake side, from the bitch and the whore, now we have mother stepping in because that's representing the spirit, that red part. So when the moon goes red, that's a beautiful sign. That's what you want. And over here we get the stars fall from heaven to earth. All right. Now, if you're Earth, and now all these stars, these are the brethren in the skies. This is all these things come to you. You are now connected to God. All of these guys become your council now. We now are in council together because we're one. We're all one. And then over here we have the thunderings and heavens and stuff like that. Now what they're doing, what they're saying is, when this happens, is that, remember, we circumcise ourselves from the lower, when we circumcise ourselves from the earth consciousness, like that, when we went to sleep and made all this happen, does the lower mind no longer exist? Sure, the left side of your brain's still there. Sure, the right side is in there, but you're no longer caught up in the frequency of beta conscious. That's what this is, beta. This is Saturn. That's why Father is the devil. That's why the ruler of this world is Satan. It's his place, it's yours and mine, until you can pull yourself out of it, until you can do this and get yourself out of it. All right. And what happens? You come right back down here in the midst of it all, And what's the difference? I guess knowledge. Something happens, some do connection to God, brought back spiritually alive. And I don't know if it makes us lucky people or whatever, but something beautiful is going to happen. That's what I'm here. We'll find out. We'll learn it together. All right. It's been about a year now with me. And I've done a whole lot of teachings on this stuff since then. But this opened up, all of this stuff opened up for me. You know, it's beautiful, seamless stuff. So the end of days is in here. We have the sun rises in the east and it goes dark in the west. So this gives us the colors: black, red, pale, or bruised. This actually is like a bruised color. I say pale, but it's probably a blue bruised. And the idea, because this is the heel, the head and the heel. And what was that last one, Ricky? Damn it. Oh, white. The white garments. Once you finally make it over to the other side, that's the white garment. So the idea of this representing the earth in your mind, that this is your heaven, that when we finally make it over here, when you're over on this side of thinking from the west, you are governed by something else, someone else, even your own ego is dragging you around. Whether you are making millions of dollars and doing great for society or not, or if you're on the opposite ends, you're become the homeless or the troubled, the whatever has caused this other lower side. This is hell. This is hell on earth. There is no heaven to go to. What he gives you is freedom from this lower mind while you're still alive. And you get to still live on forever and ever. And I said, well, weren't we living already? Because this is the soul. This is the body. And this is the idea that the heaven and earth, earth and heaven, will pass away, but my word will live on forever. This word that they're talking about is you. It's talking about your soul. It doesn't ever die. But in a situation that when you are just following father and the bitch, this is a male on male relationship, because they extend from each other. This is why this is the thieves. They're talking about the eyeballs, the two thieves that die with Jesus, the guy in the middle. That we find that they are the thieves. They are the sacrifices. All right, they get burned and scattered all over the place. In the stories, there is a scapegoat that is sent from the west, speeding towards the gates in front of the east, where there's a giant bull with two great big horns guarding the gate to keep anyone from ever getting in there. And so we send the scapegoat to us. This is when we're in meditation. We send, and it just doesn't, feet don't hit the ground. It just and pips that motherfucker right in the head and shatters its horns, right? And then as it's laying down on the ground, it stomps on it. And then a little bit later, its horn disappears too. So this is this idea. This is where we get back to that the lower mind has been lifted. And there was this blockage or some kind of a gate or some kind of a wall, something that's blocking this other side is destroyed. And so this is the earthquakes in heaven, is this idea that now we've got that balanced mind. That's the whole point of this whole story, was to create this balanced mind, to the balance of the cross, all right, between the right and the left side. This is Libra. This idea of trying to restore balance in a house that was divided, all right, and that means it didn't have its mother, and so we had to follow the bitch for this long time, which is the word. So the idea that the gospel becomes some kind of a snare for human beings. It's being snared because if you're not going to play this game, then you can't. You're not allowed in. You're not even looked at to be pulled out at all. All right. I'll tell you this: hardly anyone gets out of it, anyways. The way the story runs is, good luck, best of luck to you. So I'm trying to help a lot more of us make it over to the other side. So the promise is that it takes away those things that come against you. It takes away, it delivers them at your feet. And I don't know what that's like. That's pretty cool. Delivers your guys to your feet because you've been at their feet all this other time, And remember, this is a situation where our souls made a vow. The Bible tells us this, that we would be this Nazarene, be this guy that would stay unclean until the end. That we would do this until we just had enough, We listen to that idea that God says, set my people free, for too long, and believe that this is a group on earth that had the comeuppance on us all. There was this group of people that are special to God, and that they're alive and well and worshiping the devil, as we've come to find out. This Jewish people, the Jewish state, this Jewish people, they're not who God is talking about. He's talking about people like you and me, those guys that are taking this job seriously and recognizing the spiritual side of our Bible and bringing the light to us, bringing the light into the world through us. That's how God works. But this father and the bitch, they're the opposite side of things. But they are our works. So we got to give it some credit. Because if you don't play, he won't pay. All right. Anyways, I hope you got something out of this. We talked a whole bunch about a lot of things, Though we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, we'll fear no evil. Do you know why we won't fear any evil? It's because when we shut Father off and take this journey, it's only a once up, you guys. This idea of not having this open here makes it a circle. But this is the one way. At any time you want it, you go up there and you're connected anytime. Because the child inside us is what God wants to set free. Let him go. Let my people free. He's not talking about you. He doesn't give a damn about this outside. But if you send him what's inside of us, God will send him back home to you with all the riches in the world, and then you restore your soul. Everything's brought back to life. Whereas while you're hanging out with mother and father, with this old one, with the fake one, you might as well be Moloch. Because your child is inside of you. It's not being cared for correctly. It's not even hardly even being recognized. And this idea that he is bound up nice and tight inside of you, that he becomes this thing to God that he wants to set out of prison. This is how prison shows up, because it's inside of the grave. You're being a scapegoat or whatever, a tomb. He wants what's inside of you out. Jesus wants to pull this out of its grave. We're made out of dirt, dust. We're the grave that this poor little thing is stuck in. Until we finally recognize everything, set him free. And the first thing he does is go find mom, connects father to her. Now this is like the bit going into the mouth and rains being showed up. Now God reigns. And anywhere he says to go, he goes. Want to do this, he goes. He goes. He said, I'll do whatever you tell me to do. You are now this property owner. You got the land that God said he was going to give to Abraham all those years ago. And Abraham was the only one that got it. No one else got it. There's very few people get chosen. All right. Very few people make it over to the other side. It's absolutely wild. Well, we never got into Lamentations, but I'll tell you, we'll talk about it soon. All right. I'll chat with you later. Hope you got something out of this.